financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is we're continuing our analysis of the way to resolve debt, and we're also going to kick in addition to this, how to save a home from foreclosure. Brian Small.
Good morning, Ken. A pleasure to be here this morning.
Jeffrey Linden, our tax expert.
Good morning, Ken.
Pat Semesco, elder law expert.
I'm just sitting here waiting for the passion to come out of Brian and this topic that we're going to have.
It won't take long.
Oh, it's just.
If I
If he drinks
recall,
more coffee
it's
than
if I
that,
recall
mesmerizing.
in the last show, he was flushing dollars down a
okay.
toilet. So
No.
something's going to happen when it comes to
I'm
foreclosure.
saluting you, and I'm just on every word with him.
In that vein, we're going to continue our clients, Frank and Nancy, and solving their problem. Last week we talked about Frank and Nancy's situation, and we concluded that Chapter 7 was the most efficient way of solving their problem. This week we're going to change the facts for Frank and Nancy and see where it goes.
Was that because they didn't have any assets? You said you spent all their IRAs and 401ks.
But here's the thing. No, you can have assets if you're going to file a Chapter 7. There's a whole bunch of stuff you're allowed to have and keep while you file Chapter 7. One of the misnomers that people believe is that I'm going to lose everything if I file Chapter 7. Reality, you can keep, for a married couple, we might be able to keep $1 million house with $1 million of equity. You can definitely keep up to $56,000 worth of equity, $57,000 if you're over 65.
But if you're under 65.
There's about $37,000. But the
Total.
federal exemptions are different, and you can protect $50,000 if you're under 65. Or over 65. There's all sorts
What
of
about
ways
my
that we
IRA,
manipulate.
401k?
100% protected.
So you can protect assets, but sometimes depending on your income versus your expense, that can disqualify you from a Chapter 7.
So if you make too much money, according to the government, not necessarily according to you, because nobody
Makes
thinks
too
they
much
make
money.
too
Again,
much
look at
money.
the passion. Just
But if you make too
All
much
his hair
money,
fell out.
the opportunity to file a Chapter 7 may be eliminated. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Most families of four making $120,000 to $130,000 a year
Struggle.
are going to qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy if they have debt that needs to be eliminated.
All right, so it's a good time for me to introduce a concept that how we approach things. We have a concept or a way of approach called financial crisis management, where what we do is we've developed what we consider to be a toolbox of our tools of how we arrive at the most optimal solution to eliminate debt. In that toolbox is Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Also, how we fight foreclosure, and also how we sometimes use foreclosure to our advantage when a house is underwater. We have tax relief and the systems that we use to address taxes, and we have our system of debt resolution, which is our system of resolving credit card debt outside of bankruptcy, which is different than debt settlement that you see and hear about on radio and TV. And as we get into it, we'll explain how debt resolution works and how it's different. So we always approach everything from a financial crisis management perspective of how do we take the tools to find the optimal solution. All right, so with Frank and Nancy, we're going to change the facts from last week just a little bit. They're still in their early 50s. They still have two kids, 19 and 16. Their credit card debt last week was $75,000. Now it's up to $95,000. They have income taxes that are owed for 2 years now. 2015 they owe $15,000, and 2016 they owe $20,000. They still have medical bills of $10,000. Okay? Their house is a different situation. The house is now worth $230,000, but their first mortgage is $250,000, and they have a second mortgage on it of $45,000.
Typical.
So they're underwater in the house, and not only are they underwater, the value of the house is less than the amount of the first mortgage.
That is a key aspect in assisting Frank and Nancy in helping them get rid of debt.
Okay. All right, so their debt situation is worse than it was before. Their income is a little bit better. Frank is now making $55,000 a year as a car sales account executive, and Nancy's making $32,500 as an administrative assistant. So they're making $87,500. So it changes their budget. If you remember last week they put their budget up, we're going to put it up again. Their monthly net income is $5,104 a month. Changes from their last budget is their credit card payments are now $23.75 a month. They still got the medical payments. They're paying on the 2015 and 2016 taxes. Their outlay right now is $8,500 a month against $5,100. They're $3,400 a month underwater. They're in a disaster.
It's absolutely
budget-wise.
not sustainable. They cannot continue to do this. They are running through every penny that they have. They're borrowing from mom. They're borrowing from their uncle.
They've tapped out the credit cards. That's why they're at 95.
These are the same. At this point, people do things like, I'm going to change my withholdings so that I get more money in my check. Because they don't have a solution, and they try to find their solution.
Stopped paying,
and they keep making mistake after mistake after mistake.
And they stopped paying their mortgage payments. They're now 4 months behind in their mortgage payment. Okay, so they're getting foreclosure letters from Trott Law and Podestivo and Associates, and who else is out there?
Orleans.
Schneiderman, Orleans. There's 7 firms that handle all the foreclosures.
But the 4 we just named handle about 95% of them in the state.
You get that letter, it's a serious situation because they're not sending the letter as a warning.
No,
if that letter
4.5 weeks later, they're foreclosing on your house.
They're foreclosing on you. So it's a very serious situation, and it happens. Okay?
Do you have to act before they actually file the foreclosure?
You have to do something. If you want to save your house, you must do something. What we're going to be able to do, we'll tell you after the break, but you must do it before the day of the sheriff's sale. If you wait, you're stuck. The only option you have to keep your house after the sheriff's sale is to write a big, big check. That's usually not an available option. But
this is a very long segue into the break.
But there's lots of options that are really good if you act before.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Back to Frank and Nancy. All right, now, Pat, you raised the right issue and you were talking about it. How do you stop foreclosure? If you're facing foreclosure, the way to stop it from happening, and you must stop the sale from occurring, is you need to file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy prior to the sale. So if the sale is 10 o'clock on Wednesday, March 11th, you must file that bankruptcy before 10 o'clock a.m. on that date to stop the foreclosure sale.
100% correct.
1 minute late is too late, and it doesn't stop the sale.
Reality. The earlier you address the problems, if you're starting to fall behind on your mortgage, the greater opportunity we have to provide you with multiple solutions, whether that solution is getting a reinstatement quote or doing a loan modification. But when you are imminent danger of being foreclosed because that notice got tacked to your door, or you received it in the mail, now you've got less than 4.5 weeks before they're going to sell your house.
That notice tells you the date and time of the sale. And unless the lender on its own accord agrees to adjourn it, it's going to happen. So you don't have the ability to stop it
if you want to save your home. Yeah. Frank and Nancy are walking in the door with the foreclosure notice in their hand.
There's only two ways of stopping it, just so you know. The Chapter 13 bankruptcy, or you can hire an attorney to go to circuit court to get a temporary restraining order, arguing that somehow the foreclosure was improper and getting a court order to stop the sale. That's extremely expensive. It's not a guaranteed success because the court, it's discretionary as to whether they enter the order, and it's not practical. So realistically, there's only one way to stop that foreclosure, and it's the Chapter 13.
Right. So now, people are
walk us through the Chapter 13.
Well, people always say to me, "What's the difference between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13?" So let's just review. Anyway.
Let me try that. What's the difference between Chapter 7 and Chapter 13?
What a great question.
What a great question.
So, all right, Chapter 7 is debt elimination bankruptcy. Wipe out your debts, get a fresh start. Keep most, if not all, the assets that you own, and eliminate the debt that you owe. Chapter 13 is reorganization. We restructure your debt. We look at your income and your expenses. These are the expenses are what we call the allowable expenses under the government standards, and otherwise you might hear it called the means test or the disposable income test. Income minus expenses, what's left over. Now, for Frank and Nancy, when we look at their situation, we already know that first blush, they're negative $3,400 a month. But when I look at their budget and eliminate, if I could magically go like this and take the debt service out of their situation, they've got $169 left over, which is a positive number, if they didn't have their second mortgage.
So you got rid of the you got to 169 by getting rid of the credit card payments, the medical bill payments, the tax payments, and the second mortgage.
And the second mortgage.
You can do all that?
I can. Because, remember, Frank and Nancy's house is worth less than what they owe on their first mortgage. So, they've come in, they've got a whole heap of problems, and Frank has gone bald, pulling his hair out, kind of looking like me, no hair, and
that creates a good synergy between you and Frank.
Absolutely.
From a standpoint of lawyer-client relationship.
Perfect.
And the rest of us are really good with clients that have hair. No.
Right.
So, anyway, what happens here is that we look at this, and they're in a panic, okay, because the house is being foreclosed and they don't know what to do.
Serious. Yeah.
So, when I look at their budget, I say, I can help you save your house. It's going to effectively cost you $169 a month. And that's it. And it works.
So you get rid of, so $170 a month, $169 ends up getting paid in for how long?
In this case, probably 60 months.
Okay.
Okay, so but a Chapter 13
And what do they get out of it?
could be 3 to 5 years long.
What do they get out of it?
They get rid of their $95,000 worth of credit card debt. They get rid of their income tax debt. They get rid of their hospital bills. And they get rid of their second mortgage.
All right. Now you got me confused. How do you get rid of a second mortgage? It's a lien against the house.
Well, Chapter 13 allows for something called lien stripping. We actually remove the second mortgage, which is secured by the home, but because it doesn't attach to any true equity in the home, meaning the house again is worth less than what's owed on the first mortgage.
All right, in this case, the house is worth $230. The first mortgage is $250, so it's worth less.
So because the house is worth less than what's owed on the first mortgage, there's no equity, there's no brick and mortar that the second mortgage attaches to.
Is it all or nothing? What if the house is worth
It's all or nothing.
$251,000?
If there's even a dollar of equity that second mortgage attaches to, we cannot lien strip the mortgage.
So that's the planning then. You let it go up a little bit.
If it's $250,001,
Now,
you
Pat-
take off the storm door and throw it out.
Right.
That's an interesting question about planning to eliminate equity. There are some opportunities there, but remember, in this case, Frank and Nancy are facing an immediate foreclosure, so it's going to be what's the value right now of the house, not how do we plan to get rid of the second mortgage, because there's other ways to get rid of second mortgages too, through negotiation otherwise, but not in this situation where a foreclosure is imminent.
All right, so this is a super deal for them. They end up paying $170 a month. Before they were $3,400 underwater. Now they're paying $170. They've gotten rid of all of this debt. They've gotten rid of the second mortgage. The house will now end up having equity by the end of the 5 years. They're going to be in a good situation. What if they had a $100,000 IRA? Would that have a problem?
Not a problem at all.
What about because they had a tax?
They could have $1 million.
Because you paid off the
IRA.
taxes in this case, right?
No, we eliminated them, and only if the taxes have a lien does the lien survive against the.
So even if they had an IRA or a 401k, the same result would have been the same?
Same result. Isn't it beautiful?
So this is a super outcome for Frank and Nancy.
No.
Better than the.
Stop.
Is this better than Chapter 7 for them?
In this case, it is.
Why?
And not only is it a super outcome, it's a normal outcome. Chapter 13 does this all the time. And why? Because they got rid of their second mortgage on top of all of this.
All right, we're going to come back from the break, and I want you to answer one question. Why was this better than Chapter 7 for them?
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 a.m. and Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m. and on KISS 105.9 on Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Every month we give away a free $100 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Just go to the website, pop in your email address, and you're entered into the contest. It's a great deal. We have a seminar coming up. On Wednesday, April 8th, we have a debt seminar from 6 to 7:30 p.m. and it's called Let's Wash Away the Debt. That's because April showers bring May flowers, so I thought we would wash away the debt in April. We're going to go to all the methods we use to eliminate debt, solutions using bankruptcy, solutions outside of bankruptcy. The key is you want to eliminate the debt so that you preserve your future income for savings and for your family, that you're not giving it away in the way of paying interest payments to the credit card companies. Jeff Linden will do a special segment on how to resolve tax issues. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Also remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. Just call the firm at 888-235-HELP or go online on the website, thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, and you can request a free consult. We cover debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat Simasco, disability and workers' comp issues with Jeffrey Kirshner, criminal law issues with Scott Weinberg. Also, on the websites, we have free reports. There's a report, brand new, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions, written by myself and Jeff Linden, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and from Pat Simasco, Retiree's Guide to Social Security. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Simasco Law, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV Gross today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
Nothing provokes panic and fear like the threat of a school shooting. Unfortunately, we've seen a sharp increase in students making copycat threats in order to gain notoriety. I'm Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith. Students, this behavior will not be tolerated. Felony charges will be brought against anyone who threatens the safety of our schools. Parents, please talk to your children and pass along this message. If you threaten our schools, it will cost you your future.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so back to Frank and Nancy. So the question that I asked you at the break is, why is this 13 better than a 7?
I told you, because they get rid of their second mortgage. They get rid of more debt, and it effectively costs them less than they would have if they had been in a Chapter 7. If they could have qualified for a Chapter 7 and weren't facing a foreclosure immediately, and we didn't have to file a Chapter 13 to stop a foreclosure, if they'd come in and said, we have $95,000 worth of debt, I would have examined their situation and said, you know, for $169 a month, I can get rid of your second mortgage. If you keep your second mortgage, it would have cost you $36,000 over the same period of time.
Got it.
It's smarter, plain and simple, but the analysis has to be done.
Okay. Next time I ask for a 10-second answer, I want it in 10 seconds.
Good luck
Do you understand
with
that?
Good
Can I
luck
throw
with
out a
that.
10-second comment?
Sure.
That $1 million IRA better be their IRA. If it's a beneficiary IRA from their parents, so dad died and the daughter inherited,
Different story.
Oh, it's a big different story.
Those are not protected.
Those are not protected.
Okay, good point. All right, let's change the facts now with Frank and Nancy, okay? Their income is 1.5 times greater. They're making $131,250 a year. Their monthly net is $7,656. In that circumstance, using your Chapter 13 analysis, their excess income goes from $169 to $3,321
Which
a month.
is funny because some people making $130,000 a year are going to qualify for a Chapter 7. In this case, Frank and Nancy, because of their expenses and their lifestyle, do not qualify for a 7, would be paying back 100 cents on the dollar in a Chapter 13. So neither one of those solutions are a good opportunity for them.
Okay, so 7's out, 13's out. So where does that leave them?
Debt resolution.
Okay, now is debt resolution the same as debt settlement?
So the answer is no. And the reason is, number one, debt resolution is more effective and it's quicker.
All right, let me I'm throwing a chart out there because this is an important thing because we're going to talk about debt resolution all the time, and I want to make sure that people do not confuse it with debt settlement. Debt settlement is what you hear and see a lot of commercials on TV and radio on. They talk about a 4-year program. They settle the debts in the 60 to 80% range after you do all costs. They charge you a monthly fee to hold your money. They charge you 15 to 18% of the settled debt as a fee. If you're sued, they do not represent you. They're not lawyers. They tell you need to hire a lawyer. They do not analyze any tax consequences for the cancellation of debt. It is not the way you want to go. Debt resolution is our method of settling debt outside of bankruptcy, developed by us during the financial crisis, and it's different. It's a 18 to 24 month program because if it has to be longer, our conclusion is 7 or 13 will be a better outcome. The settlements are in the 30 to 40% range on the credit card debt. We don't hold your money and charge you a fee to hold your money. We think that's ridiculous. The fee is 9.5% of the debt. It is not 15 to 18%. If you're sued, we defend you, and we only do it if the analysis is that it's the best solution as to all possible ways of getting rid of the debt. We don't automatically do it. So with that said, how would it work, Brian, in a minute with Frank and Nancy? And then I'll give you time at our next show to examine
So what we
it
would
further.
do is we would look at their minimum monthly payment. So they're paying $2,375 a month. They've been managing it, and they can afford it in this situation based on their budget. Remember, they're plus $33,000 some odd dollars. We can utilize the power of the minimum monthly payment to create the war chest of money to negotiate settlements with the creditors. In
So
other
you're
words,
use that monthly payment of $28.75.
so remember
they're
what the
making.
minimum monthly payment does. It's going to be paying for the next 29 years. In this case, we can get them out of it using the minimum monthly payment in 18 to 24 months.
So what we do is you stop making the payments, we save that money up, and then we settle the debts as they get old enough, and we make the right deal.
You stop making the payment, or just you make the minimum payment?
No, we completely stop making the payments. And then we settle the debts when they're 270 days and older. That's the time you get the best
So I'm
deals.
going to ask the question that you hear, but what about my credit score?
Your credit score will go down, but then once the debt's settled, your credit score will go back up, and you will be $2,875 per month better for it because you won't have the debt. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with The Law and Reality.